I used to think life was about getting somewhere. Another destination, another goal, another accolade, or some version of socially accepted success. To be honest, for the majority of my life, I've lived on those terms. But the older I've gotten, the more I've realized it's not always about where we're going. It's about what we notice along the way and how we allow it shape us. The little moments, the quiet or sometimes grand life-defining questions, the people, the stories that shape who we're becoming. Life shouldn't be a collection of milestones, in my opinion. It's sometimes what we uncover day by day in whether it's creativity, in our belief systems and our values, the relationships we have or we build through our lives, in the choices we make really when no one is watching. For me, some days that journey looks like travel. Other days, it's a conversation, it's a prayer, or a pause. Hi, I'm Nana, and this is In Transit, a space to slow down, to reflect, to approach life a bit more intentionally. Because let's face it, we're all, in one way or another, in transit. I wear a couple of hats. I am a husband, I am a dad, I am a Christian. My faith is really important to me. I am a creative as in I have been a photographer for 15 plus years, and I've been making video videos for the last 10-ish years. I'm Nigerian, and the formative part of my life, although I've lived in the UK for 20 years, my formative years were in Nigeria. So I wake up and I think Nigerian first. And actually it impacts the way I sort of see life and I think. And actually all of these different facets and aspects of my life influence the way I see the world and the things that are that drive my passion. I love travel. I don't travel as much as I'd like to because I have a corporate job. I've got a background in accounting, so I do have an accountant's mind, which comes with spreadsheets and planning, which we'll come to talk about shortly. I need to get the most value for every single trip that I make when I do make these trips. And I still consider myself fairly privileged to have made as many trips as I have over the last few years. So travel is something that's really important to me. And the other side of travel as well is when I travel, it's one of the few times I'm finding now that I get the opportunity to create, which is a bit sad. You know, it means that I get very limited time to get my camera out, and I want to fall back in love with creativity. I want to fall back in love with with why I got into this art form to start with. So that's the reason why I'm actually starting this, because it's really helping me get into the process of creating as opposed to just the outputs, which maybe I might have been overly focused on over the years. I find documentaries really inspirational and really interesting. I find the stories that are told through the documentaries and, you know, through the eyes or the lens of a filmmaker, I find them really inspiring. I like that documentaries capture truth, they capture awareness, they capture context, they capture history. And generally I find documentaries very educational, certainly the documentaries that I watch. I love music as well. I have quite a wide palette by virtue of all of the different, you know, exposures I have had when it comes to music, from family members to friends to just my own personal taste and preference. And I think I have then got into a place where I have a range of genres that I listen to, some that people wouldn't even believe I listen to. So I love music, and it has a way of inspiring me. As we all know, music can transport you to places, but actually it can make you feel things. For me, I see visuals sometimes. I listen to either a song, and it could be a song that has absolutely no words, but I then start to form some visuals in my head. You know, it's something that gets me picking up a camera and wanting to create. So music does that for me. And then people. I absolutely love people. I love the layers to human complexity. I love human personality or different personalities. I love to spend time with groups. I love to spend time with small groups of friends or sometimes larger groups, depending on how things play out. When I bring all these things together, I enjoy traveling with people. I enjoy traveling with friends. I'm one of those guys who, I've tried solo travel before. I tried it once and honestly, it wasn't for me. So I am at a stage now where I am fully comfortable with the fact that I am not a solo traveler. But also means that actually, I do a lot of travel with my wife, and then we obviously have similar preferences. So maybe that's some form of solo traveling, maybe you could qualify it as that. But I genuinely enjoy travel, and I enjoy traveling with people because I want to be able to bounce ideas and have conversations. I love conversations, and actually maybe that's another source of sort of inspiration for me. But as these conversations happen, I also love to capture human emotion. I've decided to create this channel because simply put, I want a creative outlet. As I said earlier on, I'm wanting to get back to the joys of creating. I want to be able to expand the range of how I see creativity and how I capture things and what I create. And what would I be creating? So as I go through my life experiences, it would be things like travel stories or short films, or be features of people that I find inspirational, and hopefully you will find inspirational as well. But on a more practical level, it would be things like how I make the decision around places to go, how I budget for these places that I go to, how I make plans, and by plans in terms of small or big group trips. I have been privileged to plan quite a few group trips over the years. So it's going through that process. And this is where, again, some of my accounting background comes in, because, I am quick to whip out a spreadsheet. So that's fundamentally, one of the things I would maybe be given some insight on. So I've had a camera now for over 20 years. And in the last 10 years, I've done more video. And as obviously, for those that know, as the mirrorless cameras came in, they came with a lot of video functionality. So I thought, okay, might as well. But actually, a big part of that was me just wanting to capture more emotion. I felt like I could capture emotion better with videos. So I started out with stuff just at home. I was creating videos of just like regular stuff, but also big milestones for us. So, having a baby, first birthdays, first family trips, all those things. And I was capturing them in the most chaotic ways possible, but I was doing some capturing, that's for sure. But as I did that, I certainly got the satisfaction. I wanted to keep doing more. And then you see the big explosion of, video content on social media that's progressively been happening. And as that started to come in, I have to admit, I got caught in that. So it was really important for me that I found my way back to focusing on the things of most importance to me. And those things were around family and family values. I've talked about that already. My faith and how important faith had become in this phase of my life, and the relationships and how important relationships are to me, and the journey I've had to date, and actually the journey I'm on. And then there's a thing around sort of identity and making sure that I was clearer on my identity. I've got this strong perspective that's based on my upbringing in Nigeria. I've got a Western perspective as well, having lived here for 20 years. And actually how I leverage both of those experiences in how I interact with people, how I show empathy, just how I relate with people in general and interact with the world around me. So identity became a big thing in terms of how that comes across in the stories I tell, or the stuff that I create. So these things were all really important, and I needed to make sure that they started to feed into what I was putting out and what I was creating. It's stuff that ensures that I am consciously passing through the world, and in everything I do in terms of the stuff that I come across and I create, and the stuff that I interact with. I'm able to look at them through the lens of my values and my belief system. And that should then translate into the stories that I tell. So this would be stories influenced by this backdrop I have just talked about. Stick with me on the journey, and look forward to having you on the next one.